All right, so it looks like the players are they shuffling, or are they kind of just looking at each other's decks right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll watch them do whatever
they're looking at each
doing.
other. No, they're looking. He's looking at his own deck because he's the blue-white deck. Orrin Beasley on the right is going to be the rug deck. The top 8 was 4 rug decks and 4 blue-white Cargo decks.
Very exciting.
I like it because it's a nice even split.
So all we saw were either mirror matches or rug versus Cargo for the last few rounds. And of course the 32 Jace the Mind Sculptors and probably 32 Preordains in the top 8. Probably 32 Mana Leaks.
It's the right numbers, right? So we set up a nice projector here in the venue, but it's really bright. So I think it might be hard to see what's actually going on over there.
Pat Cox is the only person watching it.
He has supersonic vision, so he can actually see.
I'm the only person who cares for
Yeah. He's one of Orrin Beasley's best friends, and so he's pretty interested in what's going on.
I think it's finally catching on. People are coming over here.
All right, Juza, you're up.
You know, you can.
water.
There's water.
You could be Mr.
You gotta go
Chat
get
guy,
Gavin a
'cause I know you love the chat. The chat's all you.
Juza, you gotta go get Gavin a water.
No, we have water. Is there still water back there?
Is now the water boy.
Can you get some from the judge room? Some water? Waters? We got water coming for you, just for you.
All right, Gavin Berry joining us in the booth now.
Hey, everybody.
A popular commentator of late.
Yeah, I've been told that me and Brian Cole would make a good mix, so this is too good of a
So,
hey, everybody.
so are we saying that I should leave? Because that's what it sounds like
No,
you just said.
no,
You're like, blah, 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 Rashad, get out of here, blah,
You're
blah,
like,
blah.
yeah,
And I'm like, you know what?
It's your show though, man.
Me
I
and
can't
my
take you off your
3D
show.
Rashad token, maybe we should just leave.
So the thing is, like, me and BK are like your commentator, but you're like cumin, a nice spice. You just go well on everything.
Like curry?
Yeah, like curry. Like when you go on camera, everyone loves you.
Because I taste good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Two combatants enter
I understand now.
So
All makes sense.
let's catch me up here for those of us just joining us. What's going on so far in this top 8?
A lot of claw blade.
Well, it was a top 8 of claw blades and rug decks.
It was 4 Cobblade, 4 Rug, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We try to keep it even.
Yeah, I mean, to make playing field fair, so we can actually find out which is the definitively better deck. What do we have here in the finals? Is it Cobblade and Cobblade?
It is
Nope.
claw blade and rug.
Wow.
Exactly what you would expect. And I also expect this match to end in a draw. Somehow.
It's just like any good anime series, right?
Well,
Where's mine?
For you. So, all right. So, what happened to some of the other name players? Like, we know Michael Jacob was in this top 8. StarCityGames.com ringer. Alex Bertoncini was in this top 8. How did those matches go?
Oh, Alex unfortunately lost in the first round in a mirror match with Orrin Beasley, I believe. Yeah, we watched that one. So, yeah, Orrin Beasley pulled out the mirror match against him. In what? Yeah, MJ also lost to Cobblade in the first round. Owen Turnwald just lost to David Shiels in the top 4.
Okay. So we're down to David Shields and Orrin Beasley. Now, I've heard Orrin's name being run around several times. I've seen him on the Star City circuit. I've heard about him in GPs. He's a pretty high-name player, right? Like, I think he's an up-and-comer to watch.
He's one of those solid players who hasn't made a big break yet. And
okay, well, I'm going to take Rashad's slot and slide a little closer to my good pal BK.
hasn't really got his big break yet. And I mean, a Grand Prix title would probably be just the thing he needs to put his name on the map.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's been performing pretty well over the last like 6 months or so.
He's from the Midwest, right?
No, I think he's from South Carolina or North Carolina. North Carolina.
Oh, Charles Gindy.
Hello.
It's Charles Gindy here in the booth.
Orrin's from
Gindy?
North Carolina.
Okay.
You know this guy, right?
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
friends with most of the Florida guys too. Pat Cox was friends with him, and he moved to Florida, and then he vicariously became friends with all like Orlando guys, Dave Sharkman, Billy P, me, and Stark.
Very cool.
David Shields is kind of in a tear in this top 8. He's defeated 2 top pros, Josh Hutter-Layton and Owen Turnwald.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, Dave Shiels.
A fireball quencher.
He might not be a known player in the real world, but our moto, you would know him as Shiels, who is a ringer. He plays all the formats, really good. I've known him for a long time. He's
Right.
Also friends with Smokes McCloaks, who's another moto ringer.
Okay, yeah, Dave
Howard.
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, David
Yeah,
Howard.
I was talking to Brian Lynch and listening to Toro before the match. They said he's been playing a while. He kind of stopped playing and he just got in.
Yeah.
Melissa said that he defeated her in a Grand Prix trial, and that's the only reason he came here, which won him the Grand Prix trial and 4 Jason Mind Sculptors or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that's what he was telling
And
us.
That's everything he needs.
That's why he's here. Got my 4 Jason ready to play the
Yeah,
Grand
I
Prix.
guess I should
Show me to the big
play.
show.
I have 4 Jaces.
So you really need Jace, right? There's 36 Jaces and 36 preordains in the top 8. Is that correct? Or 36 is 4 in every deck, right?
32.
32. Well, I mean,
8 times 4.
they all have a couple extra. Some of the players in the finals have a couple extra.
8 times 4. I'm not sure. It's just over 30 as far as I know.
And people in the chat are probably like, man, you guys are so dumb. You guys can't do basic multiplication tables.
Is this a double mulligan from Orrin Beasley here?
It certainly doesn't look good for Mr. Beasley. 32. Yeah, 32. 32.
Oh yes.
So, and of course, 32 Mind Sculptors. How many little Jaces? Probably at
We're
least
not
a
sure.
handful of those.
We're playing.
I would assume most of the blue-white players have 1 little Jace,
Yeah.
4 maybe.
I mean, I know that I don't know. The Channel Firewall guys, when they were talking, said they had 2 in the sideboard.
Okay, so maybe tops 8, if that.
Do you think the rug players played any? Who
I don't
knows?
think the rec players played any.
I mean, Orrin Beasley's got a Garrett Loudspeaker in his deck, so you know who I'm rooting for this time.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting how it all played out. There were a lot of
I didn't
decks
know he
played,
had
but I
the
think we have a
outfit.
pretty clear 2 best decks in this format.
What do you think those are?
Rug and Goblin, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah, 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 and
I'll give you
4.
that. I'll give you that. They definitely seem to perform the best.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see what the stats say.
The thing is, Cobblade is pretty easily the best deck, and Rug is the only deck that has like at least an
friend thought it was
even
pretty
matchup with Cobblade. I feel
basic.
like
Right.
Mono Red like beats Cobblade in quotation marks. You guys can't see me like quotation marks right
He's
now.
making a quotation mark symbol with his fingers right now
A bunny quotes, as Flores might say, but but like after sideboarding, the Cobblade deck can just do a lot of things if they want to beat the red deck. It's not very hard.
From the people I talked to, it sounds like the rug deck is slightly favored in this matchup.
Yeah, but just
probably
slightly.
a 55-45.
Yeah, 55-45.
Maybe 60-40. Probably not.
Depends a little on the tools in the sideboard too. I've also got some really interesting opinions. I thought Flash Freeze was awesome against Rug, but I played against a Flash Freeze player earlier. He's like, it's not good. Don't bring it in against me.
It's really not as awesome.
Interesting.
Because the cards you really want to counter is Jace in this matchup, right? And it doesn't hit Jace. We're not going to use the hit. It's
winning in both days
Explore.
for the Star 75Ks.
Can't counter their mana leaks with it.
I was winning in.
What are you really
Twice
countering
today.
besides their Infernal Titans? You can't counter the Curse of Golem.
Right.
So, only cards you're wanting to counter are Lotus Cobra, which you can't hit if you're on the play.
This is
if
a-
you're on the play, and Infernal Titans. So, maybe Avenger.
This is a 6-card
Those are
hand for
both
Beasley.
6 and 7 drops. You
Yeah.
can just mana leak those.
Right.
So Flash Freeze is really actually mediocre where it seems like it should be good.
Yep. I definitely boarded it in, and it got stuck in my hand. So I
you
wish I would
can-
have known better.
Pat Cox joining some booth. A good friend of Orrin Beasley.
Looks like Beasley kept this one. He leads out for the Halimar decks.
He's got an Explorer in his hand. I saw that.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
so looks like his hand is Copperline Gorge, Explore, maybe another
2
Explorer.
Explorers, looks like.
And it looks like 2 Copperline Gorges, 2 Explorers. I'm not sure what the last card
Infernal
is.
Titan Island.
Inferno Titan. There's the Titan itself.
Yep, Island. Capital. 32 preordains as well.
32 mana leaks.
32 preordains, 28 mana leaks.
28 mana leaks.
Right, because the Cobblade decks probably will play 3, a lot of them.
Okay.
It looks like
37 total Jace, that's 5 little Jace.
looks like David Shields' hand. I see a Plains at the front there. Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, I was looking at the wrong screen this whole time. There's
This is a-
Stoneforge Mystic. I was like, man, these are so hard to see on the small screen. Where'd the big screen we normally have go? It's right in front of
Mystic
me.
for Shields, pretty much just what he wants.
Yep. Turn 2 Mystic. That is the play. I mean, Squadron Hawk is all fine, but when you have that Mystic on turn 2, it's just so unbelievable. There's an Explorer from Orrin Beasley.
Yeah, Orrin will explore again.
Is that 2 Inferno Titans in his? Yeah, that's
Playing a
2
Rage
Inferno
Ravine
Titans.
and an Island. Here's another Explorer in his hand.
see some.
He's gonna find everything at this rate.
You see some adventure gear, and he's all suited up.
And look at this battle advantage he has. 5 lands to only 2, and
And
now
on a mulligan
3.
to 6, no less. Explorer is just so good because it digs you deeper, accelerates you.
He still has lands in his hand, though. He might be I think he's in danger of flooding out in this game. And
Yeah, I mean,
You can't really flood out when you have Raging Ravine.
and he has 2 Inferno Titans, which will certainly help temper that ability to flood out.
True, Raging Ravine, so he can't play Inferno Titan.
He's going to go on another exploration. Yep, Jesus explore. There's a preordain.
it's a good time to dig.
What do you think you're looking for if you're Orrin Beasley here with this preordain?
The first thing I think I want is a lightning bolt, because you gotta expect David Shiels to possibly put a sort of feast and famine in play at the end of his turn, and then maybe equip it to a Stoneforge Mystic and swing it.
Can't quite see what cards he has there. And looking at the top cards of preordain, just really thinking about it. Sends them both south, grabs a new one. Manlink off the top.
That's
Left.
not going to help him against the Stoneforge Mystic.
In comes sword. Pretty traditional Cobblade play opening. Turn 2 Mystic,
Yeah, it's
Turn 3 sword.
your sword. With Spell Pierce if you have it.
Probably equip. If he has another 2-drop, play that. If the equip resolves,
Yeah.
then we're safe. We know it isn't.
playing untapped land now with Mana Leaks live for him.
Yeah, David Shields' hand looks pretty good too. He's got a Jace sitting there. He can cast via untapped. He can sit on his Mana Leak. He's got quite a bit of options. This Cobblade deck, when it gets to these kind of starts, it's so hard to beat. It reminds me of turn 2 Bitter Blossom almost. Like, if you go turn 2 Mystic and untap with Spell Pierce in your hand, it's just so hard to lose.
It is very reminiscent of Bitter Blossom in its heyday.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between the fairies and Cargo. So.
Like, both decks move from like losing to winning really fast. Like, they can both like attack your hand. They can both attack all your resources. Only one of them gets a time walk when it hits them.
Both can be very aggressive and very controlling. Sometimes at the same
Fairies
time.
plays Sword of Feast and
Yeah.
Famine.
Yep. Exactly. Very true.
Yeah, it gets the time walk.
Yep. I mean, you don't have to Notorious Throng for your time walks anymore. Alright, so he hits him, and here's another Mystic.
And it feels like Orrin's at the point where he just has to try to
Yeah, you have to cast that.
throw that Titan. I kind of felt like he maybe should have Titaned last turn.
Couldn't Titan.
I thought he had enough.
No, he had a tap land.
Raging Ravine.
Oh, I'm stupid. Whatever.
So, I mean, he has to play the Titan. Like, you can't afford to let it sit in your hand.
Yeah, he's gonna play a Titan.
It's going to get mana leaked.
Almost certainly getting mana leaked.
And if David Shields has a land, it's going to strip Orrin of his last card, the last 2 cards.
He will choose to Mana Leak the 6/6.
Yeah, I know he has a
kills his
colony.
team.
He needs to untap land.
That looks like Squadron Hawk. No, but he can still.
Oh, yeah,
he
he
can
can
still
just
just
put
Mystic
it
it
in
in.
play,
Yeah. Exactly. He can still just Mystic it in. But doesn't look like that's what he wants, though. I think he's gonna go for Jace and start Fate Sealing. See, I might go for put Sword into play, equip, attack, and then untap, play Jace, Fate Seal, because then you control all of their draws.
Yeah.
Now he does have that Ravine, but the Ravine isn't gonna be able to kill off Jace.
I think just making him discard his whole hand has to be
Oh, he had an
what he
untapped
wants.
land.
He had the land. Oh, he just goes for Gideon. Weird.
No, he got a Mortar Pod with a Stoneforge.
Oh,
He probably doesn't have 2 swords in his deck. He probably has Sword, Mortar Pod.
Interesting. Don't you just want to draw Sword all the time?
Well, I know we had Sword Mortar Pod in our deck, and that second sword in the sideboard. They don't have ways to kill it in game 1, except for if you play against Blue Black and they Inquisition you. But generally in those games, you want to you don't want to cast Mystic turn 2 anyways.
Right. Because you just play on turn 2 and get your position.
Right, and then you lose. So, but the second sword is normally superfluous, and you don't really want to draw it that often.
Sure. It's interesting how the 1 mana spells in this format, or 2 mana spells too, are so often like ones you don't want to play on that turn. Like Inquisition or Preordain, you don't always want to play on turn 1. Like
Right.
Stoneforge Mystic, you don't always want to play on turn 2 in every matchup. Like, all right, so David Tech Edge is down 2 of Orrin's lands, and that's going to really hinder his development. All that exploring for naught.
And a late lightning bolt.
Yeah, a little late to the party.
Yeah, Orrin's going to scoop it up this turn probably when he gets hit.
I do not see him coming back.
Yeah. And so here's going to come the sword. Oh, no. Still no sword. Oh, he has Mortar Pod, that's right. Just so attached to this idea of swords. Alright, so there's the rest of the
These
squadron.
hawks barely seem necessary.
Yeah, he's just doing that because it's free.
So, let's see. I think we're going to see Gideon activate, probably attack for 6, 9, maybe 10.
Play
Hawk
Colonnade.
just came in.
But he's got 2 stone forges, right? So that's 10.
10 damage.
He chops Orrin to 3. It's going to be a far cry for him to win this game. Scars Lightning Bolt. He still has an Inferno Titan in his hand, right? I don't know what he's hoping for. Mortar Pod.
Yeah, he still has that precursor going.
Drops him to 2. Very quick. So Orrin's basically at 1 right now. Alright, that's it. And
Fairly effortless win for the Cobblade deck in the first game.
yeah, pretty decisive.
Yeah, because even if they lose game 2, they still get to be on the play game 3 or who in the favor.
Right, yeah. I mean, being on the play in that matchup is so gigantic because if they don't have the bolt for your Mystic right away,
Right. And
Yeah.
also it gives you the opportunity to counter their Cobra, which is a huge threat. Cobra's like the only card you don't really want to see.
right. But we don't have decklist in front of us. Does David Shiels have an oust?
I would assume he does, but I don't know.
No idea.
Or Journey of Nowhere, either one? That card is, I mean, if Ruggan taps with Cobra, it pretty much always wins. But if you have the oust, it
He
can
has
really
2
hurt
journeys.
them. He has 2 journeys. Yeah, so 2 journeys says a Sideline Reporter Pat Cox, but no ousts. Oust seems like a card that's really well positioned in the metagame for this weekend. I don't know how good it'll be afterward, but ousting a Lotus Cobra is certainly a good place to be.
Certainly.
Yeah, I think I like Journey better. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't fit the holes in your curve, which is what kind of why people play Oust over
Right.
Journey, I think. Because you really want that something to do on turn 3 where you leave Mystic Mana up. But I just think it's an overall more powerful card.
He's got the Mortipod to do with the
Yeah, he also
third
has a
answer.
Mortar
I mean, the thing about Journey is it's like against. There's a really interesting interaction between Oust, Condemn, and Journey. Like, Oust is good against decks like Eldrazi Green, good against Lotus Cobra, but it's very bad. It's not very bad. It's not great against Mono Red. It's way worse against Mono Red. And decks like Naya perhaps. Journey is better against those decks, but worse against. Or Condemn is better against those decks, but worse against like Eldrazi Green. But Journey is like a nice mix. Just costs 1 more.
And what do you think about Into the Royal?
I'm not a big fan of Into the Royal actually.
Man, I like him.
We've seen it be pretty good all weekend.
I single-handedly watched Corey McDuffie beat Josh Layton because of an Into the Royal that Josh just didn't know was in his deck.
I think, I think Into the Royal is pretty awesome for that deck.
It's really, I think.
I'd consider
underrated.
playing at least 1 main.
Yeah, at least, I had 2, and so did Corey.
Main deck? Or?
Yeah, 2 in their main decks.
Yeah, it seems not
And
bad at all.
Because it's so unexpected, and it's just a really versatile, good card. You can bounce their Jace, then make sure you have counter mana up, or just bounce their Gideon when they think they're going to be able to save.
Or
if
bounce
it-
a sword, which is
Yeah.
huge.
And if they actually think
sword
they're...
bounce against Josh, he tapped out to play a second sword and equip it, and he bounced this creature, and then that was it. You
Yeah.
know, we got the untapped play our sword.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Any of these suckers trying to get you with a precursor golem too.
Oh yeah, that's great when you get to kick it on.
That's
Precursor
just living the dream, but like, I mean, you got that for yourself.
Yeah,
so.
and then they might board out their precursor golems,
Yeah.
afraid of you into the rolling.
It is like it does become a situation like that where like you suddenly have this threat that should be very good against Cobblade. Like that's was typically what rug decks. What rug deck rugs weapons against them, and now it's like something you're scared to even play against them.
I cut the Royal for my deck for this one, so I didn't feel like it did enough. I didn't really miss it, but maybe it's good.
We're saying you're wrong. You're wrong.
I
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I finished top 32. Corey McDuffie made top 8, so I think we have a clear victor here.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I didn't even make the 18. I played the same 75.
Corey has been tearing it up with that Cobblade deck.
Yeah, he has.
After the top 8 last weekend. I mean, you made top 8 with Darkblade last weekend too, but
Yeah, no, he's on a really good run.
I think he's finally starting to shine. He's been like kind of under the radar for a long time now, and I think this might be the time. He's qualified for the next Pro Tour. He's had some Pro points here, relatively early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, thought maybe a couple years ago he would have busted on the scene. He got 9th at Nats
wow.
in 08 when Cheon and Sam Black and Michael Jacob was the team. Yeah, yes, Sharkman, you made top 8. But yeah, I thought he was gonna have like his breakout season next in 09. You know, he kept winning PTQs for every Pro Tour, and then just having one of those 4 Pro Tours, 4 the next Pro Tour. He just couldn't get over the hump of day 2.
he was probably testing with his Florida guys. And,
Yeah, I mean,
they're all about the drafting there, right?
yeah, all they want is draft. They don't want to play
Index is
it.
so always the best thing you've ever seen. If it's the best thing you've ever seen in Florida, it's probably like on tier 2.
It's probably got like 6 snapping creepers in it or something. It's like, man, well, yeah, snapping creeper.
It's
Like,
the best thing you've ever seen.
oh, man. Sorry, so Orrin's on the play here. So he's definitely looking for a Lotus Cobra. What else do you think he wants in his initial draw? Like, obviously Cobra's good, but if David has a way to temper his Lotus Cobra draw, what else are his major plans? Like, do you want?
I mean, Manalik on the play seems pretty good, right?
Manalik, very good.
Because you want to control this Stoneforge Mystic. Like that's their way of blowing the game open for you early game. But if you don't have that, like a spot removal spell can really save you. You know.
Let's see.
This looks like no lands for Orrin, possibly, or
is Orrin going to just mulligan out of this top 8? Oh, and there's a third mulligan or second mulligan for Orrin Beasley.
Rough beats in the finals of a Grand Prix.
Rough beats indeed. So BK, are you going to any more Grand Prix this year? Are you going to be in Kansas City or anywhere like that?
We'll see.
Maybe. Just come out, game. Providence.
I'm thinking about going to Providence just because it's legacy and
I think
it's a good time.
I think we could probably brew some sweet decks for Providence.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say what it is, but Sam Black's working on a pretty awesome deck. Do you know what it is?
Cobblade in all formats.
I guess the secret's out now. We won't say what's in it, but it.
I was just kidding. Oh, was it Cobblade? I got it out of him.
Wait, seriously?
No.
We won't talk about it.
Sam's not one to really keep his deck secret anyway. I think he's already written about it.
Really?
Possibly. All right. Or I just gave out the tech. I don't know.
It's okay. They're not going to have Sam's list. I'm sure they will within 30 seconds.
I actually played some Legacy Cobblade a couple weeks ago at the local store.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the feel of that deck. Yeah.
It seems like you just upgrade all the cards to Legacy cards. It's a pretty sweet deck.
I think Forceful and Days interact really well with something like Stoneforge.
Yeah, like the thing is, the Cobblade deck wants to just play like a fish deck sometimes, or like an aggro control deck, and having access to cards like Force and Days, just let it do that 1,000 times over. When you can go like turn 2 Mystic with Force in your hand, it's so unreal. Plus, you can also find Sword of Fire and Ice, which is pretty sick.
You see, like I felt really good against the counterbalance style deck. I felt really good. Combo didn't seem too bad because he had like all the quick counters. And the Igor decks have like equipment, so which isn't the worst, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think your hardest matchup is probably something like Merfolk, which is an aggro control deck that can probably out aggro control you. But if you get an active like Sword of Fire and Ice, it's over.
That's what I did to the Merfolk deck I played against. I got a Sword of Fire Ice and then a Jet. And
in the end, Yeah, Legacy's a great format. It's been really fun watching it develop in the Star City events.
It's getting a little expensive though.
It's a little expensive. It's true.
All right, let's see how these 6 look for Orrin Beasley.
All right, let's see what we got. This is a lightning bolt at the front, that's for sure. Looks like an Explorer maybe, lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. It's gonna start with a forest.
And all right, forest for Orrin
Mountain.
Beasley. Explorer.
Looks like he has no blue mana in his hand. And he's going to miss his land drop. Ouch.
Oh no!
And
This could be a
pass the
short
turn.
finals for Orrin Beasley.
David Shiels, not missing a beat, plays that turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic, getting surprise Sword, Feast, and Famine.
You didn't want the mortar pod. Nope, Sword it is. The card is just such dominating.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Orrin drew into an island, so that's going to let him explore this turn and keep a lightning bolt up if he wants. Seems like the play to me, but maybe there's something trickier I'm not seeing.
Let's see what we got going
He's
on.
just going to explore.
Oh no, Lotus
Oh,
Cobra.
Lotus Cobra.
Oh, and there's a land. So he has 2. We're gonna go on another exploration. Yep, exploring a little more. Now, if he draws a land, he can bolt that. Oh, he didn't draw a land. If he had a land, he could bolt down that Mystic, but didn't find it. Orrin Beasley's still digging for answers.
I think he thinks he still has time to bolt it. Like,
Sometimes, so I've seen the players play it 2 ways. You can either play the Tempo Black Hole game where they go to equip it and you
I
bolt
was
it.
talking to AJ about this. Yeah.
But I found, like, as a Cobblade player, I played Cobblade in this tournament. I found it hurt me the most, and they just did it right away. Because if I can untap, I can do things like Spell Pierce. I take those out, I guess, after boarding sometimes. Some people do. But you can mana leak it, you can deal with it. You can also just do other things. But it's a more effective use of Orrin's mana to not have to leave 1 red up all the time. Especially when he's mana light like he is.
Right.
I was also like, I couldn't figure out, I took out my Spell Pierces, and there seems to be a pretty, like, widespread. Some people feel like it's really good against Rug, some people don't like it at all. I think it's just really hit or miss. Like, if you hit a Jace with it, it's obviously insane.
Another land from Orrin is going to drop a Tumble Magnet.
All right, let's go for a Tumble.
Very quality card against the Stoneforge Mystic.
What a card. I think Tumble Magnet is just like such a breakout card out of nowhere.
I've always liked it.
Out of the hands of Jerry Thompson, I suppose, but many things have sprung forth from those hands. Let's see. Looks like Orrin's hand is Inferno Titan Lightning Bolt. Is that correct? So David ninjas in that sword, and here's going to be a bolt from Orrin Beasley. No, he doesn't do it. He's going to bolt when he tries to equip for sure.
He does run the risk of like running into a counter spell.
Right,
too,
exactly. That's
while
why I just
waiting.
like bolting it right away. I mean, he's got Tumble Magnet, obviously, so it's not as big of a deal. I found, like, sometimes you just, like, especially in a situation like this, I feel like you just equip and start running that magnet out of counters. Because, you know, it gives them some time, but you can just play the game in such a way that, you know, you just play for the magnet to run out, and then you can start hitting them. There's David Shiels. Thinking about what his play is going to be.
Very careful, thinking about all the possible permutations.
Yeah, he's got a decided advantage, but he doesn't want to just mess up. Okay, so David Shiels, excuse me, cast Stoneforge Mystic, which is going to get a Mortar Pod to kill that Lotus Cobra, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
And that'll be pretty huge, I think. Like one of Orrin's major outs this game is like ripping a fetch land, going like fetch land, Inferno Titan.
Right.
But if you kill that Cobra, it's going to be so much harder to do that.
Yeah, he's wanting to make sure he cuts off like the giant haymakers that Brad Nelson was talking about earlier that
Right.
the Rug deck can pull out.
Right, exactly. I mean,
Keep the opponent playing fair and stay in control.
so David Shiels will probably tap the Mystic to put that Mortar Pod in, I imagine, just to avoid counter magic from Orrin Beasley. Like, you can't get 1 more damage if you cast it from your hand, but I don't think you want to risk running into a mana leak here. I don't know if the 1 damage is worth it. I think if David wins this game, it's probably not going to be that 1 point.
Right.
Like, it's pretty decided when you start hitting with that sword. Yep, so he's going to activate the Mystic, put the Mortar Pod in, and just instantly nug the Cobra. And yeah. So now it's Orrin. Looks like his hand is. I think it's Inferno Titan Explore Lightning Bolt. Draws an island. So yeah, he would have been able to cast on Inferno Titan had that Lotus Cobra not died. Let's see. Okay, so Orrin just passes back. Looking pretty bad for Mr. Beasley.
Yeah, this is not looking good for him. While Shiels looks all in control.
Yeah, he is doing exactly
Just a
what
tumble
the
magnet between him and victory.
Yeah, and once again, he's going to probably... I can't say exactly what's in David's hand, but if you just equip the sword this turn, you just start burning those magnet counters, and it's about 3 turns till you lock up the victory.
Right.
Let's see what David chooses to do. I can't quite see what's in his hand. If he's got a Gideon or something, he could just play it right into Mana Leak, which Orrin doesn't have, and run it out there and seal things up. But I think I was talking to Sam Black, and he says you normally board out Gideon in this matchup.
Yeah, that's what AJ was saying as well.
Yeah. It's one of the few matchups you don't really want Gideon in. I mean, it's still good, though, so sometimes you leave 1 or 2 in, but...
I don't think it really impresses me.
It doesn't impress me. Sometimes you just want a way to close. Like, it was attrition, and then you're like, oh, well, I gotta close.
Yeah, it is an attacker can be difficult for them to deal with.
5 mana, 6/6. So he equips the sword for the Mystic, and yeah, now he's gonna make Orrin tap it with the Temple Magnet. And he's getting for 1. And we'll see what David does post-combat. I wouldn't be surprised if he just left up counter mana. I don't know if he actually has a counter spell. At this point, Orrin basically has to cast whatever he draws. He's not going to be able to hold anything. So representing counter mana doesn't really help you if you don't have a counter spell. Like, Orrin is basically committed. Another Temple Magnet. That's going to be a problem. But I don't think you burn a counter on it. Once again, I don't know if David has one, but...
I don't think he has one.
I don't think he has one either.
So Orrin's just... Things aren't going so well, but he's buying himself a lot of time to get to that Inferno Titan.
Yeah.
Hopefully swing the game back his way.
One of my opponents did this too, where one of my reg opponents just put out 2 Tumble Magnets, and I was just, bought a lot of time. Once Cobblade gets into that dominating position, as long as you have a card in your hand that makes it so you don't lose to an Ripped Inferno Titan or something like that, you just have all the time in the world.
Right.
Now, obviously, Precursor Golem can be a problem, Inferno Titan can be a problem, but once the Cobblade deck establishes position, it's very hard to get it taken away.
Right.
And especially that Tectonic Edge from David is going to be brutal, because if Orrin draws like a Raging Ravine, it's going to keep him still off 6 lands. And yeah, so David serves in with Colonnade here. And so he still has a clock. So each Tumble Magnet with 2 counters on it now for Orrin Beasley. And let's see what he decides to do. I think he still has that Explorer in his hand he hasn't cast yet, and this is probably going to be the time to run it out.
Does he?
Copperline Gorge. I thought he had one.
Played them all.
But regardless, he plays out Copperline Gorge.
Avenger already.
Oh, he has an Avenger. That's what's in his hand. So he plays out Copperline Gorge, which David is probably going to Tech Edge here. You think probably Tech Edge this, right, Brad?
I mean, if you have the perfect read for the Inferno Titan,
I mean,
I think he's going to Jace first, and then see if he gets the Mana Leak or something.
This seems like a good play. Playing Jace, not much wrong with that. Yeah,
he has the Mana Leak covered now.
He just Fate Seals.
Just Fate Seals.
He's just going to lock. He knows Orrin is rough, in a rough spot. He just wants to lock him out. The problem is, without that Copperline Gorge being untapped, he doesn't know if Orrin is, needs land or doesn't need lands. So, you look at the top card, you're like, well, should I give him a fatty? Right. Should I give him a Lotus Cobra? Should I give him a land? Should I give him an Explorer? It's hard to know. But I suppose it's probably better than scrying one in this situation. At this point, you're just trying to, once again, buy time for those Tumble Magnets to run out, and Fate Sealing does an okay job at that, even if you don't have perfect information.
Another swing for 1, dropping Orrin to
a ripe 13, looks like. And there's a Tech Edge on that Copperline Gorge. Let's see what Orrin draws. Looks like
another Inferno Titan.
He's got a Lightning Bolt, 2 Inferno Titans, and an Avenger is what it looks like to me. Draws. It draws Gideon, so he did leave a Gideon in, and that Gideon's going to really help David close this game. He's going to burn those Tumble Magnets to kill counters. I mean, I think David is in a really commanding position, but in the event that Orrin could potentially get back into the game, Gideon's really going to make sure that that doesn't happen. Looks like David is gripping 2 Dave judgments too. So, yeah, Orrin Beasley's in a pretty rough situation right now. Yeah. So I think David is just going to enter combat, not activate Colonnade when the guy gets tapped, and then cast Gideon post-combat. Now, it's possible he thinks Orrin is gripping Mana Leak because Orrin hasn't done anything. But I think he's play into it at this point. So he taps the Mystic.
Possibly, man. I think he's nearing the point where he just assumes he doesn't have it. Like, or maybe, I guess he wouldn't have Mana Leak the Jace. Possibly.
So he does go for Colonnade.
Doing something I like a lot, just trying to end the game as quickly as possible when you have control.
So the thing is, if Gideon resolves, you have him dead next. Or I mean, you have him dead on 1 full attack. He has to burn both Magnet counters next turn. Because Gideon is 6, Colonnade is 4, Mystic is 1, and then you can Mortar Pod for the last point of damage. So, I mean, obviously Temple Magnet stops that for a little bit, but it forces him to burn both Magnets next turn, and David just ends up in a commanding position. So preordained from Orrin Beasley here. And he's trying to find a way to dig himself out of this predicament he's found himself in.
Yeah, this is looking like a really rough spot for him. I think David's going to pull this one out.
Yeah. I would give David the advantage, the decided advantage in this case. I think Orrin's out to get back into the game, trying to figure out what he's thinking. Is it... I think you have to think that one of your Titans will resolve, and so you're probably looking for a red source. I'm not sure what he even has. I mean, that Colonnade is going to be a problem, and knowing David's hand, I don't think you can find much of anything. I guess Avenger is pretty good.
Yeah.
But David has 2 Dave judgments. Okay, Oracle. That's pretty reasonable. Lotus Scope on top, not going to give Orrin any help. That's kind of interesting for David Shiels, because now he doesn't have to Fate Seal his opponent if the card he wants is there.
Right, yeah. Helps the Jace out a lot.
Yeah.
You definitely going to let him... You think he's going to let him have this Cobra?
Well, I think we're going to see... I'm not sure what he's going to do with that Colonnade. I feel like he should have had to do his board presence last turn, but he decided to attack instead. Now Orrin is sitting at 4, and I think he's probably going to serve with Colonnade again, and Orrin's probably going to have to tap it. And I think he probably just... I don't think Orrin is holding a land. I mean, from David's perspective, I don't think I'd be thinking Orrin is holding a land. So
he knows that he's not holding a land. He could have played a long time ago.
Right. Well, you could potentially hold one if you wanted to. Yeah, I like bouncing Oracle there. I think that's better than scrying one. So that's Orrin back. It gives I think David needs to do is buy 1 turn at this point. Yep. So he's just going to serve him for 1 late Gideon post combat, and then put Orrin, I think, on dead next turn. Yep. Post combat Gideon +2. And then next turn, there's 1 Temple Magnet trigger left. Here comes a Stoneforge Mystic, okay. He's going to pick up his deck. Does he have a Sword of Body in mind, or does he have another Feast and Famine?
Another Sword of Feast and Famine.
So he does have 2 Feast and Famine. And yeah, I think David's got it this turn. Orrin's sitting at 7. Between the Gideon, the Sword, and that Mortar Pod, yeah, he should have it. The Sword will untap all the lands, and then you can just equip Mortar Pod 1 by 1 and finish off Orrin Beasley. Yep. And there's Oracle. Yeah, I like that Gideon. Let's see. I think Orrin probably see the writing on the wall here. So he cracks his fetch land. can do.
Searching for. I don't know what he's searching for, but.
Yeah, he's searching for his opponent to get a game loss. Let's see what happens. Hey, Orrin's got a bolt in his hand. I don't think that bolt's going to really help him. There's a rage intervene. It's reinforced on top of Orrin Beasley. And now he's going to pass back.
I think he's done on board.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's dead on board. Like, you can only tap one of the sorted guys. There's been 2 sorted
Gideon's
guys.
coming in for 6.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to tap Gideon, take...
He can untap and mortipod all his guys.
Yeah, you just bounce it. Yeah, that's good. Activate Gideon, place sword, equip it. Or just activate Colonnade. I mean, whatever you feel like. Taps Gideon. Here comes in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is lethal damage, and you can see the hand here in just a second. Yep, and there it is. There's
That's
the
it.
hand.
David Shiels is your champion.
Congratulations
for
to
Grand Prix
David
Dallas.
Shiels. Wow, so Cobblade. People were wondering after Barcelona if Cobblade is going to take it down. It's been doing well in the Star City events, but it didn't win a Grand Prix. Didn't even have an insane showing in the top 8, though. It made a ton of people in day 2. But here we are back in the U.S. and did a pretty good job.
And a dominant final.